Hey guys, it's me, my face, and so much shame. We'll get to the shame in a little while. First, let's ooh and ah. It was hair day. I do love me my hair day. This week was not a fantastic stitching week. It wasn't terrible. I worked on, I guess 4 projects, but I didn't do a whole lot on any one of them. Let us start with Death by Cross Stitch. It's the pattern that, haunts me. I just read, as I was getting ready to film, a comment popped up, and I haven't read it completely yet, but the first part of it was, what is it about death? And I'm going to assume it's Death by Cross Stitch. And let's pretend the question is just, what is it about Death by Cross Stitch that everybody likes? I think it's the fact that it would make 6 fantastic patterns all at once. It's overwhelming. It's, I don't know. It's tough to see the end. I don't know how people do Hades. I have a Hade. I haven't started it yet, but I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I'm doing this. You've probably already seen the information on this pattern, but you should be seeing where I started the week. This is my new pattern now. I take a picture of everything as they are on or after I finish filming this, and then I use that to compare it to the end of the week. It's almost like it makes sense. So this is how far I have gotten. As you can see, I mostly worked on the purple here, and I filled in some purple guys here, and then I did this top piece up in here, and the rest of what's being filled in there is also going to be purple. So I think I'm going to work on that tonight. It seems to be a good Saturday night, sit there with a glass of wine kind of project, because I can get into it, but at the same time I can pay attention to the television, because I like to pay attention to Zach Baggins because I'm basic like that. I don't know where I was going after that. The second project I worked on this week has been confusing me. To be fair, it's not all my fault. I believe, introduced this, or actually I did. I put it in the poll that I asked everybody to vote on my next start, and I wrote that it was the Good Witch Sampler by Primitive Hare. It is in fact not by Primitive Hare. It's by Sub Rosa. So last week, after I said it out loud, Editing Me was smart enough to put in a note saying, no, it's actually Sub Rosa. I was looking at the pattern this week, and on the actual pattern, and I'll show you a piece of it here, it has Isabella's copyright on it. So that's why I thought it was Primitive Hare. It's not, it's Sub Rosa. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I confused you. I'm sorry I confused me. Would you like to see how far I got? This is where I started. And this is where I got to. I did a lot. And I'm going to tell you, over one, those Algerian eyelets in her dress, no joke. They're no joke. I mean, again, the more I work on this, the more I wish I had picked a better black, or even just a better any color for her dress. But it's going to be cute, and it really is. Once I sit down and start working on it, it's a quick stitch. It's a matter of sitting down and doing it, because even the dress, it's a big block of color. You can, outline a big rectangle and just stitch, and just watch TV and stitch. So it is a great not thinking about what you're doing piece, but I'm kind of done with it. I mean, I'm going to finish it. I just, I would like to finish it quickly. Move on to some of my Christmas pieces. The third piece that I worked on is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. Honestly, until I pulled it out of the shelf today, I thought I did a lot more on this than I did this week. I think I kept meaning to pull it out and work on it, and I didn't. but it kind of logged away in my head that like, wow, you've worked on that 3 times this week. I did not. I in fact did not. I worked on it once. I didn't get very far, but I got, hoping, I can't see through this fabric as well as I can see through the other fabrics to know what you can see. I'm hoping here. So you see I got one little pumpkin done and some of the vine, and that black blob is going to be, I first thought it was a squirrel, but now I think it's a cat. Either way, it's a little black animal. And halfway through stitching the tail, I realized that I was not doing the extra stitch. And then I realized I was off track, so I had to pick it all out anyway. So I said, ooh, while I'm starting again, let's try a different black. So this is actually, oh, don't ask me the maker. I'll put it up there, but it's a mascara, which I think we've all agreed is a nice black. It is not variegated. It's really not worth paying money for, but it seems to be covering a little better than the DMC. So there's that. I did not work on Wicked Christmas this week because, like all the other patterns, I would keep pulling one out, walking around with it for 5 minutes, and then putting it back and not wanting to stitch and not wanting to stitch on it, and then just going back to usually the Good Witch sampler, just because it's very curl up, hold it in one hand, and soothing stitch kind of thing. We'll probably get into it later, but this week was just like an emotional kind of week, so the curling up with a project was a big thing for me this week. I did get a chance to put a couple of stitches in the whip that I always forget exists, which was Crow's Lullaby. It was a project that I had brought in to work on at work during my lunch breaks, and it soon became clear that I was never going to do that. I was just never going to do that. If I close the door of my office and start to stitch, it gets to be 1,000 degrees in there very quickly. I don't want to stitch with my door open. I just wasn't doing it. So I brought it to my father's house, and when I go to dinner at Dad's on Tuesday nights, I will throw a few stitches into it, waiting for my sister to show up. So hopefully eventually that will just show up. Finished! Hooray! Mark brought the finished Stitcher's Bag hoop over to his niece Kayla last week. She loves it. I couldn't be happier. Hopefully she will let me stitch her more things in the future, but really I need her to go through her goth phase so that I can relate. The last stitching that I did this week was actually one that I did earliest in the week, I think. I don't know if you have been watching Diana over at Itiskismet Stitches. She has designed a pattern called It's You I Like. Michelle Garrett charted it for her, and she has it as a PDF. I will link to her video up here and down in the description box so that you can go get a copy. It is free. It's not just free, it's free to share. Give it to your friends, hand it out to your little stitchy group, send people to her video to download it as much as you'd like. It is hashtag, it's not a Sal, it's a movement. Or, it's a movement, not a Sal. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'll put the right one over there. Note to editing self. I would show you the one that I have already finished, but I moved the Q-snap and it is under the holder, and I'm not going to go undoodling it. I have decided to do about 5 of them at least. So I have 5 people that I want to send a little something with that attached to. I don't know how I'm going to finish them yet. There is, like I said, a hashtag on Instagram so that you can check out other people's progress and hopefully other people's finishes, and maybe I can get some ideas. I can't picture doing them all as like little pillows and things, but I'll figure it out. I should also mention Diana has another sale going. It is her Kismet in July birthday Sal because her birthday, like mine, is in December, and nobody ever wants to try to plan to do something in December, so she is doing her birthday Sal now. Now, I went to her original video where she was talking about it, and the hashtag attached to the video is Itiskismet in July. And that's it. And that's what I quoted last week. But it appears that either other people or she changed it or something, but it seems like everybody has latched onto Itiskismet in July Sal, especially on Instagram. So I think I'm going to move over to the Sal people. So the hashtag you should be seeing here ends in SAL. I hope we did not cause any confusion, but let's all get on the right hashtag. Who's ready to look at my hanger of shame? I actually filmed this as its own standalone video. And I filmed it and I loaded it up to get ready to edit it. And I kept looking at myself and looking at myself and looking at my hair. And I'm like, that is not acceptable. And I deleted it because I'm vain. So now that today I got my hair did, we're good to show off the shame. So as you know, it's all I can do to even remember to put my initials on things. Never mind remember when I stitched something, when I finished it. So you'll forgive me if my details are sketchy. If I know any other details, they will be in the handy off to the side area that I like to use for stuff I forget. I'm going to actually start with two of these that I already have. I bought frames for them. Danielle at Stitcherista 2 years ago recommended, I believe it's the American Frame Company, and I went and ordered 2 custom frames for these pieces because one was kind of a weird shape and the other one I just definitely wanted to put into a nice frame, and I ordered them and they're still in the box. I never opened them. I never framed them. But I have them. So last year, to commemorate the anniversary of the Salem witch trials, there was a stitch along to do Salem related pieces. And I was inspired because Cozy Egg, Michelle, was doing the primitive needle. I want to say it's Salem Remembered. And it's beautiful. It's a long list of the names of all the innocents who were killed in Salem. But obviously that's not a pattern that you can just find. So I said, fine, I'm going to make my own. And I did. And I'm very pleased with how it came out, but it is long and it is skinny, and I'm going to get behind it so that hopefully we get some good focus here. This is over 1 on a kind of 30-something even weave that I had coffee tea-dyed. And it's kind of an uneven weave. But all that center area here, this is all black silk from Silks For You. And then the rest, like the vines and things, are just DMC. But yeah, tall, skinny, took me forever to do, and never fully finished it. The next piece of shame is my Wizard's Gate, which was a gift to me. Let me try to get around and make sure you can see. From my Stitchy godmother. And I worked hard on this. I worked hard. And I really want to frame it nicely. I have the frame. I haven't done it yet. It's also taking up a whole nother piece. I could put something else on this. I forget what this is. If editing me feels like it, I'll be telling you over here, or I may have already. But yeah, I worked hard on that. I should hang it up somewhere. It's nice. This is another tall, skinny crowd favorite. This also was a gift from Jay over far away in England. Mortuary Stitches. This is, I can never pronounce the name, I don't think. Alyssa, it's over on the side there. This is a piece that I'm gonna see if I can get kind of in here. I wanted to hand dye the thread for it. And I did, I think what we ended up calling bloody rags or bloody bandages, something like that. And I started stitching it and I picked it all out because it looked terrible. It looked like a carnival. And then I used plain ecru and that wasn't any good. And then I coffee tea dyed ecru. And that came out reasonable. So that's what this is done in. Now, since I finished this, she has gifted me with 2 more of these patterns. One I think is a spider and the other is a pumpkin. So I gotta think of what I want to do with those. But I haven't fully finished this one yet. If you have an idea of what to do with something like this, like how to do a nice banner or something, let me know, please. That kind of goes for any of these finishes. If you have seen them finished somewhere that you really liked, if you have a good way of Priscillifying them, let me know, because they're just sitting here and maybe a little inspiration will go a long way. This one I had a great time with. This is the Town of Halloween. And I want to say that's primitive Hare. You know, apparently, because I say that everything is primitive Hare. I could be wrong, but I'll be putting correct information up. I want to say I saw this as like a magazine pattern. And I didn't realize that she sold it on her website. So when I bought it, I was quite excited. Stitched it up. It came up so cute. Remember we had a little debate, I think, about green witches and that I don't like green witches. It came out very cute. Oh, I did put my initials on here. AH, 18. So I guess I finished it last year. It's not fully finished. Guys, it is not as hot up here as it was last week, but it is hot and I can see my hair starting to do things. Unacceptable things. This was, I think, I had a digital subscription to Just Cross Stitch. And this was in one of the issues. And I said, oh my God, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a Halloween ornament a month, and I'm going to do a Halloween ornament every month. And I think I joined on the Stitch Mania Facebook group. I think there was like a Sal or something. I joined, I did this one. That was it. That was it. But check it out. Her hair is banging. Her hair, banging. This is when I feel bad that I haven't done anything with, just because he was kind of, you know, like a unifying stitch. There were so many of us that did this. And I want to say, was this a giveaway for the other Facebook group? Not the Stitchers Coven, or maybe, I don't know. There might be information there. But either way, like we were all stitching it and it was all fun. And the hair. Oh my God, Edgar, the hair. It was not an easy stitch, but when it was done, he's come out so good. But you know what? Like, I don't want Edgar in my living room. I love Edgar, but he doesn't go in the living room. I mean, he might be sufficiently creepy for a hallway where he could be like watching you as you go about your business. But I was actually thinking of maybe using him on the front of a project bag. And that way I could see him and he would get some use and he would get some air. But I don't necessarily want to buy a frame for him. But if you can think of some other way to finish him, let me know. This I finished when I announced that I was going to start doing smalls. I want to say this one was from, I always say it wrong, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine, which I also have a digital subscription for. And I like it. It was not the kind of really, it's not the type of thing I would usually do. I liked doing it. I don't think I changed the colors. I think maybe I would like to display it more if I had, but I think this just is going to be a little pillow. But, you know, like a lot of these, it's taking up like a whole piece of fabric, just because I'm so afraid. I'm always afraid of cutting my fabric, because once you cut it, you can't uncut it. And if I cut it too close and can't finish it, I have now useless pieces of stuff. Okay, this one I'm a little embarrassed about, not just because I haven't fully finished these. Primitive Hare has a set of freebies, and it is the 8 holidays throughout the year. I have stitched 7 of them, and I was sitting here and I can't figure out which one I'm missing. I know I have done Yule multiple times. I have that finished as a pillow. I know I've done Samhain. I have that finished as something. It's around here somewhere, but it is finished. Or it's mostly finished. I think I wrapped it around a canvas, but didn't really do much with it. I have Mabon all by itself here on this nice big piece of fabric, which I have a feeling was, you know, waiting for the last piece. There's 4 of them on this piece. We've got Beltane, Beltana, depending on things, Ostara, Letha, Lammas. Y'all, what am I missing? I mean, it'll come to me probably the second that I shut the camera off, but this is embarrassing. Why can't I remember the one that I'm missing? Look at the creepy people. Look at their little crowns. I think they're so creepy. That, and I love the bee. I can't even tell if you can see the bee. I'm just holding things up now. I'm shame drunk. This is another one that I did for the Salem. I want to say I did it for the Salem commemorative stitch along, but there was also Salem Summer, Summer of Salem, there was a lot of Salems. And this I think was called Salem. I want to say it is from CS Verbena CS. I don't know why I keep guessing. I'm going to put the right information up for you. This I stitched and picked and stitched and picked because I wanted to do some silks, and I had some green silk and some orange silk. But when I stitched with them, they were a lot brighter than they looked on the skein, and like the orange was kind of pinky, and then I took it all out. Anyway, it's all DMC now. So, but again, I haven't done anything with it. The other thing I forgot, I know I had said I was going to show the backs of things, and I realized I've shown you everything and not shown any backs, so I'll just show you the back of that. I think my backs are pretty neat. I don't go too crazy. I will say I will tend to, if it's going to be out in the open, I will run maybe 2 stitches. Run a thread 2 stitches away. If I can worm a thread behind stitches to get where I'm going, I'll do that rather than cut, because usually by the time you run it under a few stitches, snip it, run it under a few more, do a loop, come out to the front, you will have used the same amount of thread and you will have bulked up the back just as much. What's the difference? Lastly, this is an oldie. I believe I did this right after I finished the family trees that I did for my father and my sister. And I had just started really watching FLOSSTUBE, and everybody was talking about Primitive Needle, and I fell in love with Witch's Hollow, which again is another one that you're just not going to come across very often. So I decided that I needed to kind of create my own. So this is Halloween Haven. I know it's just kind of cute, but it's wicked cute. You know what I mean? It was my first shot at primitive. It was my first shot at charting, really, anything that wasn't just little people. I managed to get all 3 kitties in there. Socks is sitting on a skull. Dante is sitting on a little pumpkin. And Shadow is down over by the cauldron. So I think it came out very cute. But certainly, apparently, not cute enough to actually do anything with the finish. What would you do with this? How would you finish it? If you want to share your stack of shame, go ahead and post over on Instagram and use the hashtag finishes of shame. And we'll check out each other's stack of unfinished finishes. I have managed to mail everything out that I mailed everything for the 999 thank you giveaway for people that I have gotten addresses for. I am still missing I think 5 of the postcard winners. So if you are Michelle Luscombe, Robert Cullen, Sherry Hampton, Mary Polrecki, and Passion for Crafting, I owe you postcards. Could you either send me your address to my email address or to Instagram, and I will get those out for you. I've been on kind of an organizational kick. I wasn't just kicking there. Trying to find some different ways to keep notes for videos I want to make and things I want to talk about and information about projects. And I use OneNote at work, but I access it on a network, so it's easier for me to be in multiple places. So I was trying to find something equivalent here. I did not know that Google has something called Keep. I'm looking at my tablet over there. So that's what I put my notes in for this week's video, and that's been working out pretty well, except for the fact that it sits a little far away and I can't quite read it as well as I would like to, and it won't let me change the font. So we'll have to figure that out. But I watched a video, and it's one from January from Jan Hicks, who, where have I been that I didn't know she made videos, and oh my god. She was recommending something called the knitCompanion app that I guess she uses on her iPad. And she was showing it to use for, I guess it's usually for knitting patterns, but it works very well with cross-stitch patterns in PDF format. Unfortunately, the Android version does not seem to be as robust as the version she was using, and she was also using a paid version. I just downloaded the free one to kind of try it out. The first PDF that I loaded, there are 2 ways you can make a PDF, and one has the symbols almost as letters, and those are the ones that you can highlight very easily and things like that. And then there are others that are just an image, and that, like, you can draw a line on it, but you can't, like, select a symbol and see where they all are and things like that. That particular PDF, I think, was an image because it wasn't even reading it correctly. So I got very frustrated and I uninstalled it and I got angry. But I will link to her video and you can watch what I watched, and maybe it'll be good for you if you use Apple products. I'm sorry, there's a cat losing his mind over here. Or maybe do you use it on Android and you have better luck than I had? Maybe the paid version does what I need it to do or want it to do, because I really do want to start using my tablet for my patterns. I don't like that I print them out at work. I don't think it's right that I do that. And if I print them out here, they're too small and they're a little I bought them on PDF. I have a tablet. I want to use it. I even have a stylus in my Amazon cart waiting for my next paycheck. Oh, something's gone wrong. Okay. He took off. I have a stylus in my Amazon cart waiting for my paycheck next week so that I can buy it, so that I can use it, because with my nails, I'm not good at like highlighting across a line for when I use something like, Fox Pro or Fox PDF or PDF Pro. There's so many. Either way, it's tough for me to highlight. So I figured if I had a stylus, it would be a little easier. So we'll try that out. But yeah, I'm trying to get organized. I'm trying to get my ducks, all the ducks in a row. What do you do once the ducks are in the row? Do they conga? I think we'll end this week with a little update. Obviously, I alluded to earlier that this was not a great week for me. This is my first, I think, full week on 20 milligrams of Prozac a day. And honestly, I have felt worse rather than better. I have I've had more bad days. I've had more kind of that breakthrough crying. You know, I didn't like before when I was sort of numb. But now I'm kind of back to hurting, which is not helping. So I don't know if that means this is the wrong medicine for me or just the wrong amount. I don't think 10 was working hard enough, but 20 seems to be causing a different problem. So I don't know what direction that means we should go in. We'll have to talk to my nurse practitioner and my therapist about it. Luckily, I get to see her this week. Very lucky. But that's about it. Otherwise, the worst side effect I think I'm suffering is just still exhaustion. I'm tired all the time. Right now, it took me an hour to get up out of the chair to come and film this. Not because I just didn't want to, because I was just too tired. So I need to deal with that, because once I am really feeling better, I want to be able to do things. I don't want to be too tired to do things that I now want to do. So we have to get this under control. All right, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your subscriptions, your likes, your dislikes, and all of your comments. I'm pretty close to caught up on those comments, and golly, doesn't that feel better? I don't think I was very communicative with my comments, but at least I was able to acknowledge people and let them know that I had read their comment and hopefully answered any questions you have. But other than that, I will talk to you next week. Thanks, guys.